constant battle keeping track of my USB drives and my SD cards and micro SD cards. So I've decided, instead of letting them float around my desk and fall behind it, I'm gonna make a little storage block. So the way I'm envisioning this is kind of three separate areas. You're gonna have one that'll be for the USB drives that'll stick in. You'll have one that's just a hole, just an open bin cubby area. And then the other side is going to have slots that your card will slide in. This is what the top view is going to look like. I took a bunch of measurements. Kind of looks the same, right? So we'll see if my measurements are correct. And voila, we are in Fusion 360. Okay. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to do this as a part design. It's just going to be one piece. It's a simple design. Uh, First thing we're going to do is start with a sketch. Start on the base. This is like we're starting on our build plate if we're looking at the 3D printer. Let's get back to home. Now our down on the right, you can see the sketch that I made. Our dimensions are 49 wide by 141 and a half long. So we want to start right on the center. Let's go 49.5, and this is going to be 141.5. Okay. I don't like the cross construction pieces. So we need to divide this into three pieces. Actually, let's go ahead and extrude this. We know on each of the sides, the height of those is 25 millimeters. So our minimum height across the whole thing is 25 millimeters. So let's just go ahead and take this up 25 millimeters. Let's go ahead and start a new sketch on the top here. Now, looking down at our sketch in the bottom corner, each side is going to be 44.75 millimeters. So 44.75 on the left, 44.75 on the right, and then you got 52 is the remainder that's in the middle. So we're just going to draw a couple lines, and then we can dimension them after. So 1 and 2. Now all we need to do to dimension, you can do it up here or hit D. We're going to choose this line and this line because we want that distance specifically to be 44.75, and then do the same thing over here on the left, 44.75. If we just want to measure, up here on inspect, we can take our measure tool, and we've got 52 for our middle. Now that middle section, this doesn't show it, the side view shows. We want to go up to 33 total. So we've got 25. We want to take this up an additional 8. So we're going to do another extrude on that, and that's going to go up 8 millimeters. Let's start with the easy one first. We're going to do a 4 millimeter border on this, and then take it all the way down 4 millimeters from the bottom. So it's got a 4 millimeter shell on all sides. The shell function is not going to work here. Tries to take it in that way. We don't want to do that because it's looking at the whole face underneath as well. So let's get out of that. So what we're going to do is, okay, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make a couple of points, and we're going to make a 2-point rectangle. So I just drew 2 points. We want 4 millimeters, 4 millimeters. Same with this one. Okay, we got our 2 points. It's 4 millimeters offset, and just like that. Now we'll take that, extrude. See how right now it's pointing up? If we put in a positive number, it's going to make this go up. So what did I say? Our total height is 25. We want 4 on the bottom, so that's 21. If we just type 21, it's going to go up. So we want a negative 21. The other thing you can do is just grab this little arrow and take it down until you hit 21. Let's go ahead and finish that. And now we've got a little cubby. Okay, let's work on our top. Looking down at our sketch, we're going to have, I crossed out one of those rows. This is going to be 3 by 2. Each of our slots to fit our USB drive is going to be 20 wide or 20 long by 11 wide. So we're going to have 3 going this way and 2 across, so 2 rows of 3. All we need to do is create the first one, and then we're just going to make a pattern and fill it in. So down in that bottom left rectangle, you can see I put a center point in there and then put some dimensions of 14 away from the side, and then 9.5. That's our center point for that first rectangle. So let's go ahead and get a sketch on that top plane, and we're just going to make a couple points, actually just one for now, and then we will dimension it. So D for dimension, we wanted this 9.5, and this one is going to be 14. Okay, that is the center of our first rectangle. So now we just take our center point, do our rectangle, 2-point rectangle over on the sketch palette on the right, select center point. We're just going to type it in. These are 11 by 20. Okay. And first thing I want to do is extrude this because we're going to make a pattern, but we're going to make a pattern of the feature. So let's go ahead and extrude this. We want to go all the way. Same thing, leave 4 millimeters on the bottom. So the total length of the USB drive was 58 millimeters. I was planning on doing half, but yeah, so that actually does take us to half. So 29, if we take this down 29, because this was 33 tall, that leaves us our 4 millimeters on the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and do our pattern. So up here, the solid tabs on create, you got rectangular pattern. We don't want to do bodies, we want to do a feature. Now we can select our actual extrude feature from the timeline down here, and we can make our pattern on this. So I selected our feature. You can see it's highlighted blue now. Now I need to select our axis. We're going to have 2. We're going to go on this one, and we're going to go on this one. So I'm going to put in on axis 1, We're going to have a total of 3. Axis 2, we're going to have 2. Distribution, we want spacing. And let's drag it across. So now we have all 6 of our holes. And we are done with that part. So here, if you look down at the bottom right, you'll see we've got 2 rows alternating, is it kind of zigzagging, of the SD card, the larger hole. And then we've only got 3 along the left side of the smaller, the micro SD cards. We've only got 3 of those slots just kind of filling in holes over there. So let's start with our sketch, as usual. And why does it not want me to sketch there? There we go. Okay, so I did the same thing here and mark some center points. This one, we're going to actually have 3 patterns that we need to do. So that first left row of 4 of the SD cards, that's going to be one pattern. And you can see the bottom one, I put the center point, 5.25 off the bottom, 16.25 off the left. And then the right side, our first point is 11.75 off the bottom and 16.25 off the right. For our micro SD card starting point, that's going to be 11.75 off the bottom and 8.5 off the left. So I'm just going to put 3 points, and then we're going to dimension. Not mirror. Okay, so this first one we said was 5.25 and 16.25. That's going to be the center of our first rectangle for this row. This guy is 11.75 from the bottom. And from the right, he is 16.25. And our last one from the bottom is also 11.75. So those are actually starting, yeah, they run, the 3 of them run even. And then from the side, we want 8.5. All right. We have our dimensions. We don't need them. We just need our points. So we're going to do 3 center point rectangles. Our first one and second one are going to be the same. These are going to be 24.5 by 2.5. So start with 2.5, tab 24.5. Center point rectangle, 2.5, 24.5. And then this one for the micro SD card is 1.5 by 11.5. So 1.5. Okay. We want to do each extrude separately. These 2 are going the same distance. This is 25. We want to leave 4 on the bottom, so that's going to be 21. But we want to do them separate because we're going to pattern on the feature, and we need each extrude to be its own feature. So let's start with this one, minus 21. E for extrude, minus 21. And the small one, this one's only going down 7.5. That's going down half of it. And I did not do the negative. See, that's what happens. All right. let's pattern. Again, we're going to select our feature, which is the extrude down here on the timeline. Our axis, this time we're just selecting one. We're just doing this one row. We want 4, and it stayed on spacing. So we're going to go until they are all even. Okay, same thing again. Let's go ahead and hide that sketch. We don't need the sketch anymore. So this is our second extrude. Our axis again is the top. It's wanting to go the opposite direction. We're doing 3. We're going to force it that way. So it made a negative on its own. Last one is our micro SD card, and then we'll do some cleanup. Our feature is that last extrude, axis top. This one we want 3, and drag it out. And look at that. Now let's clean it up. Looks a little blocky. Not very, doesn't look very good. So let's add some fillets. I'm going to do on each of the 4 sides here. So I'm just going to highlight, select the whole bottom. We're going to do chamfers, not fillets. So let's see what one looks like. Let's get crazy. I'm going to double click that just to edit it. And we are going to change that to 3. Now it looks like a boat. Let's take a cross section. We're gonna look at this just to make sure that we didn't just like this. We didn't chop off too much there. I just wanted to look at this corner, make sure doing that 3 on the chamfer didn't take it too close. So we are safe. Let's get out of there. In the bottom of here, I want to do these rounded. So we're going to do a fillet in there. So F for fillet. And that way, if something gets down there, it's rounded. You can reach in there with your fingers and scoop it out. I'm not worried about the bottoms of these guys. Nothing, you're not putting your fingers in there. But I do want to clean up the edges. I don't want to select the whole. Do I want to do the whole top? Let's see how it looks. We're doing the chamfer. Let's look at 0.8. Some of those holes are kind of close together. All right. That looks good. Last, let's get all these corners. Little chamfers on those slots that'll help the SD cards and USB drives going a little bit easier. Chamfer and 0.8. Okay. Oh, last one. I want to get around here with the chamfer. This one I can do a little more. Let's go 2. Yeah, let's get crazy. All right, and we're done. Okay, we are in Snorka, which is the Snapmaker branch of Orca Slicer. So let's just get this thing loaded up real quick. And that is our storage. We can call it storage. Storage for your storage. Let's slice it up. I'm going to see what our settings are. Quality, 0.2 layer height. We don't need anything crazy. Um, no supports, no brim, slice, and dice. Hour and 50 minutes. And it's done. Look at that. My storage devices aren't total chaos anymore. So I've got all my SD cards, adapters, micro SD card. Those fit in nicely. And then all my adapters for the micro SD cards. I also printed another version with the Arizona A on it. I only had it come out, I think, a half a millimeter, and it was printing face up, so it has a hard time doing that kind of extrusion. I am trying doing another one with my Sentinel Peak logo on it. This one I'm trying to do, we'll see, because it's going to be kind of small. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm trying to do it kind of layered. We'll see. I think that would look cool on a bigger design where you can actually see it. Well, anyways, that's that. Thanks. All right, I'm back one more time. I printed it for a third time. Just wanted to see what it would look like with the logo. I did make it multi kind of dimensional, with the sky being one, and then the mountain being one, and then the A, Saguaro, and the Adobe. That's all in another. So I think it turned out pretty good. I also just filled in the rest of that pattern on the right side with the smaller ones for the micro SD, so it doesn't look odd.